Hello everyone. China's Belt and Road Initiative was initiated in 2013 with a total value of up to trillions of dollars. It is often considered the most ambitious project of the 21st century. Accordingly, China plans to build a belt on land through highways, bridges, railways, 5G networks, etc., while creating a sea route through a global network of ports. There are also 6 economic corridors to facilitate the transportation of people, goods and data. The goal is to address China's excess industrial capacity, meaning production exceeds domestic consumption demand. Therefore, according to the vision, connecting infrastructure with other countries will boost exports and increase trade, as well as strengthen diplomatic relations. Looking even further, it is to increase global influence. After 10 years since the BRI announced by Mr. Xi Jinping, has it succeeded or failed? According to China's assessment, it is a success, while the West considers it a failure. We will analyze perspectives from both sides to understand this clearly. First, after operating the BRI for 3 years, significant infrastructure had been built in many countries. China's exports began to steadily increase, reaching a breakthrough in 2022 with a 61% increase compared to 2016. This is considered a brilliant success. However, compared to the US, its rival without a similar initiative, it is still normal because in the same period, the export value of the US also increased up to 72%. Second, one of the BRI's goals is to enhance cooperation with other countries, especially the Middle East and Africa, to maintain stable imports of raw materials. Energy is the top concern. As of 2022, China has invested $126 billion in the oil and gas sector in the Middle East and North Africa, including projects to build oil refineries and mining in Saudi Arabia, Iraq and the UAE. They are suppliers of discounted and stable-priced oil to China. Although China sees this as good, the West argues that long-term dependence on energy from unstable regions will leave China to face difficulties. Third, through the BRI, China has loaned a lot of money to many countries to build infrastructure such as railways, hydropower plants or seaports. Most of them are low and middle-income countries. Therefore, these debt-ridden countries have been very grateful, especially as Western countries stopped lending for similar loans since the 2010s. Despite some countries falling into debt traps having to sell land to pay China, most remaining BRI partners continue to actively participate in projects. Thus, Beijing's influence continues to expand globally, especially in developing countries. Fourth, the BRI has helped thousands of Chinese companies, especially in construction and energy, receive contracts worth billions of dollars and experience explosive growth. They not only bring mountains of cash back home every year, but also generate tens of millions of jobs for the people. Fifth, in terms of strategy, disputes and military conflicts in the East and South China Seas are issues under international scrutiny. Therefore, the BRI deployment is part of China's westward proposal to reduce attention focused on the East Asian waters. With such accomplishments, what reasons do the West give for the BRI's failure? Since the initiative was carried out, China has loaned participating countries a total of about $1 trillion. They played it safe by forcing countries borrowing money to mortgage the very infrastructure projects that China builds. In some cases, it is real estate or resources. However, what was unexpected is that $240 billion, nearly 1/4 of the amount loaned by China, mainly to build infrastructure, became bad debt subject to long-term extensions. This came from 22 countries such as Argentina, Pakistan, Egypt, Turkey, Kenya, Sri Lanka and Mongolia. The reason for this is due to widespread corruption in developing countries. According to the Aid Data Research Institute, about 35% of China's BRI projects were approved by local governments through thick envelopes. They did not conduct proper due diligence on the effectiveness and profits to offset the loans to build. In some cases, they were willing to push project costs much higher than reality in order to pocket money for themselves. As a result, projects deemed ridiculous were born. For example, Sri Lanka built Matala International Airport costing $200 million, but it only served 2 flights per day. Ecuador's $2.24 billion hydropower station was built right next to an active volcano with 7,600 detected cracks at risk of breaking. Kyrgyzstan built a 433 kilometers long road for $850 million that was said to be many times higher than reality. 2 former prime ministers were sentenced to jail for corruption. Many other countries have had similar situations of inflated white elephant projects with high costs leading to low efficiency and inability to repay China. After 2 years of the COVID pandemic and high global inflation, many BRI participant countries declared bankruptcy. The irony is that much of the infrastructure built by Beijing was used as collateral but could not be foreclosed because it would negatively impact international reputation and fail to generate expected profits. For example, Hambantota port in Sri Lanka was sold to China for 99 years to ease its debt burden. According to reports, it does not generate profits. But due to its strategic location for military vessels, Beijing accepted it. However, they also had to receive countless brickbats from international public opinion with criticisms related to debt trap diplomacy. Some countries unable to repay debts even threatened creditors by revealing agreement terms to the world if they were not given additional loans. That was the case with Pakistan. Due to the difficulty in debt collection, the Beijing government gradually lost motivation for the BRI in the past 3 years, in contrast to the exponential growth previously. The value of new projects has steadily declined. The reasons come from both sides. China is more prudent in assessing the borrowing country's ability to repay debt. On the other hand, many countries also fear following Sri Lanka's missteps, so they do not dare make big contracts. In addition to stopping acceptance of high-risk projects, the Beijing government also called for private sector corporations like Alibaba and CATL to share the financial burden. Accordingly, investment appetite in the BRI has also changed. The scale of infrastructure construction participation has gradually declined. Instead, there are projects related to energy, technology and finance sectors that can bring profits to private corporations. If this trend continues over time, China's BRI will be no different than Japan, the US or South Korea investing money overseas. That is why Western media says the Belt and Road Initiative of China is nearing death.